Namaste and welcome to this practice where we'll be focusing on the first chakra, the base chakra or root chakra, also known as Muladhara. So I'll ask you to begin by lying on your back, having the knees bent and just letting the feet come out to the edges of your mat so that your knees can rest against each other. Let the hands come down onto the lower belly where the elbows move onto the floor. So your fingertips may not be touching when you let the elbows come down, but in this way, relax the arms and shoulders into the earth. And you should still be able to feel the slight movement under the palms. So as you breathe in, you'll feel the belly expand, the palms lift slightly. And as you breathe out and the navel comes back down to the spine, you'll feel the abdomen softening under the palms. So if you are able to, go on and close down the eyes and really start to shift the focus down into the lower belly. So we begin this practice by focusing on these diaphragmatic breaths. So as you breathe in and the belly expands, the diaphragm moves up to make space for the breath to be received. And as you breathe out, you feel the diaphragm move back down and all the breath releasing slowly from the body. And if this isn't your regular breath, if you're more of a chest breather, then this, I would suggest, is the breath that you want to aim for 24/7. It really is such an effective way to bring the nervous system down into a state of harmony. And it can really just be a practice all on its own, focusing on these softer breaths. And as you are focusing on the ease of the breath, this diaphragmatic breath, know that you are already beginning to stimulate and awaken Muladhara, the root chakra. So the chakras are all located along the length of the spine, and the root chakra resides at the tailbone, the very base of the spine. The quality is a feeling of earthing or grounding, and the colour associated with Muladhara is red. So you may even like to begin imagining a pulsating light that is red like the red soil in the centre of Australia, the red earth. And as you feel the breath pulsating here at the base, imagine this light pulsating and maybe even getting a little brighter with each attentive breath. Just following these next 3 breaths in this way. See if you can stay attentive to 3 more breaths. And then after those last 3 breaths, you're going to make your way up into a comfortable seat. So you might like to keep the eyes closed. All you're doing is transferring to sit comfortably. And once you are seated upright, place one hand lightly on the chest and one hand down on the lower belly. And aim to feel very little movement at all through the chest, but more through that bottom hand. Allow the abdomen to be very soft in that bottom hand. And the softer that you can experience there, you can receive that breath more effortlessly. In and out back into the space around you. So the diaphragmatic breath can be practiced anywhere, anytime. Because we are focusing on Muladhara through this practice and this idea of grounding, earthing. Hopefully you're already noticing that you're just starting to bring your mind out of that thinking state and into the feeling of the body, and really arriving here in your body, in this space, in this moment in time. So you may be sitting cross-legged, and if you need a little bit of assistance, you can always sit the hips up on a blanket or cushion. Then take the hands down onto the shins, or that front shin. And as you breathe in, now lift up through the chest, take the shoulders back. And then as you breathe out, tuck the chin in and roll the shoulders forward. So lengthening out the spine, stretching it out nicely there. And as you breathe in, lift on up. You might lift the chin. And as you breathe out, tucking in, rolling forward. Allow the breath to move all the way up from the base of the spine, through to the back of the head, and all the way back down again. Relaxing through the muscles of the face, particularly the jaw. Ensure there's space between the back teeth. And the next time you bring the spine upright, begin to fold forward over these front legs, or the front leg, and you could maybe bring the hands out in front, use a support, or just fold in any way that feels relatively achievable for you. And you can check in with the breath, of course, and notice if where you are is where you need to be or where you're meant to be. So when the Muladhara chakra, the root chakra, is unbalanced, often people experience a feeling of stiffness throughout their body. They can feel ungrounded and even fearful at times. There's a lot of uncertainty and may feel unsafe, or even at times isolation. So you can inhale and come all the way back up. Take the hands behind you and the legs out in front. Just press into the hands, keep the hips grounded, but stretch back. So take the shoulders back, puff up the chest a little, press into the hands. And then we simply swap sides. So bring the opposite leg in front now, and then fold your way forward. Just let the front body be heavy, the head heavy. You might space out the arms a little, bend the elbows, and feel all of the muscles on either side of the spine, releasing and noticing where your body touches down. So you might feel into the sit bones or the back of the legs, the feet, under the palms. So we talked about the feelings of being unbalanced in Muladhara, and through today's practice we're looking at balancing that. So we're looking to find this state of being more grounded, more stable. You can slide the hands up and come all the way up, and just stretch it out one more time. You might like to lift the hips this time, looking forward, and then lowering the hips all the way back down, and cross the legs once more. Scoop the arms up as you breathe in, and then bring the hands all the way down through center on the out breath. So we're looking to feel and experience more presence today. So as you breathe in, bring the hands together and experience this moment in time where you're arriving breath by breath more and more deeply. And find a sense of security and stability, a feeling of belonging through this practice today. And hands come all the way down through center. And we'll add a side bend, so breathing in, lifting nice and tall, and then bending over to your left as you exhale. Take the right arm up and over, and let the right knee drop down, ground down a little through the right sit bone. And then as you breathe in, pick the arms all the way back up and exhale to the other side. Grounding down through that left side. It might just be relaxing that left thigh down a little more. As you breathe in, come all the way back up through center. This time we add a twist. So taking the hands around to your left, using the back of the right hand against the left knee. And feel yourself lifting up from the root of the spine, lengthening the spine as you breathe in and imagining that red energy, that red light, prana moving up. And now as you release and take the arms all the way up, the prana is now flooding throughout the entire body. So all of the practices we start in this grounding way, twisting to the right. We can't reach the higher chakras. We can't open the higher chakras successfully without first awakening and opening the lower chakras. So bring the arms all the way back to center, and palms can come all the way back down. We'll take the feet out in front now, more of a diamond pose. The sole's connected and as far away from the body as you can. And just like we did a moment ago, hold the legs, and as you inhale, lift up through the chest, and then dive forward as you breathe out. Let the head become heavy. As you inhale, the chin is to the chest, and you can roll the spine up, take the shoulders back. And exhale, melting forward. Let those hands slide down the legs. Inhale to roll up. Feel yourself lifting up out of the earth like a new shoot growing and bursting through the soil. You can imagine those roots deep down into the earth, settling down and then folding just once more if you're not already there. You can bring the spine back up into upright position. Extend the right leg out in front, but take it a little wider, maybe up to the corner of your mat, and take the left leg in, sort of like a half butterfly. You're going to take the hands out in front and just begin to hinge from the hips here. And just want you to pulse a little first of all. So keep the chest bright as you're drawing the chest down towards the earth. Feel that lengthening through the spine. And you do want to feel this stretch through the back of the right leg, but more in the belly of the hamstring. So if you're feeling it through the back of the knee, please bend your knee a little more. And as you come forward this next time, you may choose to hold and keep reaching the crown forward and the sit bones down into the earth. You may like to spread the hands and really touch down. Imagine there's warm red earth, red soil, red dirt beneath you, holding you, supporting you. And then as you come up, that right leg is still out in front, but you can bring it a little more into the center. And then come onto the sole of the left foot. We're going to twist to the left, so wrap the right arm around. Then I'd like you to slide this left hip back fairly generously so that the twist in the spine is actually happening more through the thoracic spine. So you can flex the toes on that right foot, ground down through the heel, press into the left foot, and again from those roots grow tall, grow up and out and around and through, and in every direction the breath moves. And let the head come back around first, followed by the shoulders, and then we'll slide that left leg out to the corner. You can fold the right foot in, right leg in. You want to tilt to the front of the sit bones here. Just ensure that that left knee is facing directly up towards the ceiling. And take a bend there if you need to through that leg, even if it's just a little micro bend. As you explore, pulsing forward and down, and you may notice that just that little micro bend through the knee actually directs that stretch into a slightly different location. And along with that stretch being directed, the breath is being directed. And you can continue to pulse if you like, or pause and let the head be heavy. Imagine the front body being warmly drawn down to the earth. Notice what it's like just to pause here now. And then as you breathe in, roll the spine back up. Reposition that stretched leg into the middle of your mat. So you're grounding down through the left heel, now into the right foot. We want to wrap the left arm around, but let that right hip slide back quite a lot. And then the back hand, the right hand, comes onto the floor behind you, and it's another point of contact. So it's another point of a foundation in this pose that you can grow up and out of. And perhaps you can even explore that softer belly breath. So there's enough here that's bringing a feeling of firmness into the body as you draw yourself around tightly into the twist. But what would it be like if that was one of the parts of the body you could soften and expand and feel that breath like a light breeze on a summer desert evening? Then you can come all the way back to the center, and again, feet wide. You could just lean back if you wanted to, or just wash it out here with a reverse table, looking up or looking over the knees, feeling into all of the toes and the fingertips. And then releasing all the way down so that now you can come over onto the hands and knees. Spreading the fingers wide, hands and knees might be just a little wider than the shoulders and the hips, and just begin to sway from side to side here. So it's nice to let the head just hang and feel into that outer side stretch through the hips. And just as you made that little adjustment a moment ago with the bent knee, you could explore taking the knees a little wider. See if that gives you a little more room, a little more freedom. And then why not take the knees even wider so that perhaps they're out to the edges of your mat. Bring the big toes towards each other and come down into a wide leg child's pose. Either touching down with the forehead to the floor or bringing the hands underneath the forehead to make a little pillow. But feel as much of your body as possible connecting with the earth. And through that connection, feel a sense of surrender. Because here in this moment, you trust that you are held completely, safely. And you're reminded over and over again of this feeling of being more and more present as you follow the breath. The breath that's happening right here, right now. And any time the mind wanders, simply bring it back to the breath. You could even add a simple mantra, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. It's very simple but very effective. And then from your child's pose, come all the way up and find your way back onto the hands and knees. Bring the knees a little closer into the middle of the mat this time. Take the right leg back, look forward and take a breath in as you lengthen. Then as you exhale, bring that right knee over to the right elbow. Inhale to extend back, look forward. Exhale, squeeze it in. Inhale. And exhale. Nice and slow and steady, feeling complete control of the body. You're going to extend that leg back. You might like to lift up onto the fingertips so that this time as you bring the knee around, you actually step it to the front of the mat. Let's get off this back knee for a moment. So if you're able to lift up the back leg, so you're in more of a runner's lunge, right knee is over the right ankle and you can extend back into the left heel. Could you even lengthen the spine out by looking forward and brightening your gaze? Release the knee back down to the earth. Pick up the front toes as you breathe in and send the right hip back. You could use a block or blocks underneath the hands here as well. So as you exhale, coming forward, inhale back. Exhale and inhale. Steering that right hip back while the left hip moves forward, and then finding yourself back into that runner's lunge where you can lift up the back knee. Step the front foot back into downward facing dog now. So have the feet hip width apart, bend the knees, and you might like to even walk on the spot here in your dog pose. Still moving slowly and mindfully with attention to detail of how this is feeling in your body right now. And then lowering all the way down to the knees. You're going to come forward into half plank, so shoulders come over the wrist. On your exhale, release all the way down. Ground down through the palms and the forearms in Sphinx pose. Press into the top of the feet. As you inhale, imagine lengthening from the navel to the heart as you drag your mat back towards you. On your next exhale, release all the way down. Bring the hands under the shoulders, come all the way up through hands and knees. So the knees are still a little closer together. Take that right leg back behind you and then circle it around towards that right elbow again. So just making big circles with that right leg coming out and around. Steadying yourself evenly through both hands and shoulders, and then extending that right leg out to the side. So you're coming into gate pose. Position the right foot in the same line as the left knee and turn the toes so that they're parallel to your bent knee, or maybe even to the end of your mat, to the short side of your mat. So bring right hand to hip, engage into that little toe side of the right foot, and you'll already start to feel that extension here. Inhale the left arm all the way up and bend over to the right. If you wanted to, you could slide that right hand down as well. Feel the breath moving into this left side of the body. As you inhale, take that top arm all the way up and then plant it down underneath that left shoulder. Again, you could use a block under this hand if you wanted to. Extend the right arm up now, but keep reaching into that right little toe. And imagine you're actually getting longer and longer through this top side of the body. Feel the skin stretching, all the muscles in between the rib cage expanding. And the top arm can come down past the face and you can find your way back onto hands and knees. Just stretch it out here into downward dog, so lifting up through the sit bones. Bend the knees, reach the heels down to the floor, but this time perhaps find stillness. Find stillness and explore the weight dropping down into the hands and the feet. And from, again, those roots that you're creating there, a sense of lift, uplift, length and space through the rest of the body. And then dropping back down to the knees where you can bring the knees together. Let's take the left leg back behind as you inhale, look forward. Bring the knee over to the left elbow on the exhale. Inhale to extend. And exhale, squeeze in, maybe look over that left shoulder. Bend a little through the knuckles of the fingers and keep gripping into the fingertips. And this time as we bring that knee around, you're going to bring it all the way to the front of the mat. Ensure the knee is over the ankle, lift up through the back leg, extend through the right heel. Maybe you could even lift the torso away off that front thigh a little bit more. Release the right knee down to the floor. As you breathe in, lift the front toes and send that left hip back. Exhaling forward. Moving with the breath. And imagining that breath continuing to build and grow from the base of the spine upward. A cleansing, clearing, harmonious breath. And the next time you come forward with the left knee bent, you can lift up through the back leg, step back into down dog. Press the earth away through the hands, lift up out of the wrists. Drop down to the knees lightly, and the knees are back away from the hips a little, so that as you shift your weight forward, shoulders over the wrists, you can come into your half plank before exhaling and releasing all the way down. Slide the hands forward to the corners of the mat and maybe even a little wider. Find cobra as you breathe in. Press into the top of the feet and you'll still experience that lengthening from the navel to the heart. And it's actually that breath that's picking up from the base of the spine to the neck. So you could focus your attention either the front or the back of the body. And then as you exhale, touch down. Come all the way up through hands and knees where you can keep the knees together. Take the left leg back when you're ready. We're going to do those circles, but this time with the left knee. So out to the side and through center, and as you inhale, bring it around and exhale through and back. Adjusting the weight evenly through both sides of the body as much as possible, so that now as you step the left leg out to the side and place the foot down, just check in, knee, foot, the alignment that's going to help you build and find security, stability. Right arm extends up as you breathe in and reach up and over to that left leg. There's a few options here for your head. You could just look down over the shoulder or out to the front or up. And as you breathe in, pick the top arm up before placing it down directly under the right shoulder. Left arm extends, so you can feel that lengthening this time through the left side of the body as you engage into the left little toe. Reach to the top fingertips. Enjoy the breaths in this side stretch. And let the top arm come down past the face. Take the hands a little wider than the shoulders, set up here for downward facing dog, and enjoy stretching that out evenly through both sides of the body. The inner thigh is rotating back into the space behind you. And perhaps you could relax the neck even more. Relax the neck as you relax the breath. Bend the knees and take a walk forward to the front of your mat. Feet hip width apart and slide the hands to the shins as you take a breath in and lift halfway. And exhale to fold. So a reverse swan dive is going to pick you up here as you scoop the arms up and overhead and exhale down through center. And we'll find Tadasana here at the front of your mat. So just look down and see the feet are hip width apart and parallel. Turn the arms out to the side, and maybe you could even turn the palms out more to the side so the little fingers come around to the front. Soften the knees a little, and as you soften the knees, feel your weight dropping down evenly through left leg, right leg. Feel an even distribution of weight through the front of the feet and the back of the feet, the inner and outer edges. You may like to close down the eyes if you haven't already, and in this moment, notice how you're placing all of your trust in being able to stand here upright, strong, stable, secure. And with that sense of security, stability, what would it be like just to grow a little taller through to the crown of the head and beyond? Could you again imagine the breath moving from the base of the spine up and beyond the crown of the head? And of course that breath, that prana, that energy of Muladhara moves throughout the entire body, reminding you of your place in this world. So with an effortlessness as the arms rise, breathe in. Soften the knees a little here as you dive forward and exhale. Shift the hands to the shins and breathe in to lift halfway. And as you exhale, you're going to step the right leg all the way back and find Warrior Two, Virabhadrasana 2. So because we are looking at the strong foundation and the roots here, let's check in that the front heel is in line with the back instep. The right little toe moves in more than the heel so that your hips are actually moving off to the front right corner of your mat. And it's through the rib cage that we rotate around to the long side of the mat. And as you do that, just check that the knee didn't move off the ankle. You can extend the arms when you're ready, excuse me, and find Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Notice the chest wanting to expand out to the corners of this shape, into every bend, every crevice, every crease. A steadiness through the gaze, a steadiness through the breath. Stay with it. And then turning the palms up as you breathe in, bring the hands to touch lightly overhead before exhaling back into Warrior 2. So check again the left knee over ankle, keep the legs as they are, turn the left palm up, inhale into Reverse Warrior. Right hand might be lightly on the back leg, or you might bring it to the hip, finding a gaze point that suits you best here. Deliberately bend into that left leg. Trust yourself. Know you've got this. And as you continue to lean back, start to straighten that left leg. Then hinging out and down into triangle pose. So extending that left arm out like you're moving it out past the left foot. Coming down to the inside of the left leg. Feel the left rib cage rotating around to the long side of your mat. So the right hip doesn't move. It's the thoracic spine that is wanting to twist here. You could take the top arm up and the gaze where it feels best for you right now. So you can let the left hand rest on the left leg or thigh, but if you're wanting to switch on the side abs a little more, you'd stay off that leg. Just an option for you to experiment with. As you breathe in, lift up just enough so you can now bend that left leg once more. Rest the left elbow there and extend the right arm. I want you to drop that right armpit a little here for a moment. So dropping the right armpit, but don't drop the weight into the left elbow. Instead, press into that left elbow and feel the left rib cage wanting to come off that left thigh. Keep reaching back into the right heel. And then you might like to rotate the chest around a little. Once again, bringing that left rib cage around. But not so much that it starts to pull that hip out of alignment. You want that to be fairly natural and there should be no pulling through the lower back. So that right hand comes down now past the right ear. You can spin to the ball of the back foot. You're in your runner's lunge here and you can drop back down to that knee once more. We'll find a lizard lunge here, so your hands might stay on either side of the front foot or you could bring them both on the inside. Let the hips become heavy. Feel a longer releasing out breath that's going to encourage that heaviness, that surrender. So then we step back into plank, or you could stay with half plank. So if you're in your half plank, the knees are back a little, shoulders are over the wrists. And if you're in your full plank, you need to just lengthen those legs back a little. On the exhale, release all the way down. Finding your Sphinx or Cobra, one breath, inhale. Exhale to release all the way down. Firm the belly, come up through hands and knees and up into down dog. As you breathe in, glide the right leg to the air. As you exhale, step the foot forward. Have a little look at your feet. Imagine they're on train tracks, but hop the back foot forward so that the whole back foot can now touch down onto your mat. So you should feel that the hips are squaring off to the short end of the mat. I'll just show you this way as well. So have a look, the feet are parallel, the back foot is completely grounded, the right knee is bent, and the left hip is coming around. So then we straighten the right leg. We're finding pyramid pose here. Notice those hips square to the short end of the mat, micro bend through the front knee as you begin to lean forward, hinging from the hips. Your hands could stay at the hips, or you could wrap them behind you and hold on to the opposite elbows. Or even bring the hands into a reverse prayer position, which can be really nice as you send the little finger edge of the hands into that space between the shoulder blades, keeping the chest bright, the spine long. Releasing the hands down, bend into the front knee a little more so you can step the back foot forward. As you breathe in, lift halfway, knees are off lock. Exhale to fold. Take a reverse swan dive here as you breathe in, bringing the arms up and overhead. And exhale, returning to center and finding Tadasana. You can let the hands open out to the sides of the body. Micro bend through the knees and feel the weight dropping all the way down. All the internal roots reaching out through the trunk, deep into the earth, so that no matter how rough, how wild the storm of life gets, you can return here to this practice and feel that sense of stability and security, a reassurance of your place in this world. Using your next inhale, float the arms all the way up and overhead. Dive forward as you exhale and fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Finding warrior two, stepping the left leg back. Have a look, front heel, back instep. Come on up when you're ready and bend into the right knee. Should be able to see your toes on that right foot. You'll naturally notice the left hip wanting to steer around. You might like to hold lightly to the rib cage and spin the rib cage around to the long side of the mat. And then just check that that knee is still happily there over the ankle. Expand the arms out and let the shoulders settle down away from the ears. And then transfer your gaze over to the right fingertips and beyond. It's time to simply notice everything. A deep, deep feeling of unity. And through this unity, power and presence and possibility. And the palms up, take one breath, straighten out the front leg for a moment, light hands overhead. Exhale, warrior two. Turning the front palm up, inhale, reverse warrior. Bend into that front leg a little more. Breathe into that right rib cage a little more. Send a little more weight into the front right big toe. Press into those toes as you begin to straighten the right leg. And then reaching out and down into triangle pose, slowly, slowly. A micro bend through the right knee, staying long through the right side of the body. Feel the right rib cage coming around. Maybe taking the arm up. Finding a balanced effort through both legs as you engage into the left heel. Inhale, just lifting enough, bending, creating that shelf with the right leg. As you extend the left arm up, drop the left armpit while pressing into the right elbow. Feel the underside lifting away from that bottom thigh. While the top side, the left side, lengthens, opens, receives every breath. So that the left hand eventually comes all the way down past the face, spin to the ball of the back foot. Release the left knee down. Find this low lunge or lizard lunge. Hands can come inside. You could use a prop here. Sometimes it's nice to even drop the head. And sending this message through the entire body, just to switch off a little more now. Finding some space between the breaths, just letting it all slow down. You can step your way back into plank or half plank. You could, of course, move straight into dog pose or even find child's pose if that's in your practice. Otherwise, you're inhaling through plank and releasing to the earth as you exhale. You have Sphinx or Cobra. One breath. Exhale to release. Coming up through hands and knees and exhaling into down dog. Left leg lifts to the air as you breathe in. Exhale, step it forward. You'll need to hop the back foot forward so that you can place the whole back foot down onto the floor. Feet are hip width apart and they're parallel, so it's quite a short stance. Then you can bend into this front knee. Again, see that you can see your toes and feel the right hip coming around. Then you may be able to begin straightening that left leg, but it's never on lock. There's always a micro bend. Then hinging forward from the hips. And if your hands are staying on the hips, you might like to send the elbows back and notice that you can stay a little broader across the chest, or holding on to the opposite elbows, or bringing the hands into that reverse prayer position. I hope I've got the right leg forward. You know what to do. It'll be the opposite of what you did. Stay a little brighter with the spine, reaching forward to the crown, back to the tailbone, back into Muladhara. And then releasing down, down, down. So you can step the back foot forward. Folding all the way down, chest to thighs, hands to the shins, or you might hold on to the opposite elbows and just sway it out here a little, sway it out. Heel toe the feet out so that when you bend the knees and come into Malasana, your knees are over the ankles. You could bring the hands into your prayer hands if you like. If this is not suitable for you, simply stay higher and still direct the knees over the ankles, but just go a little higher and wider. Otherwise, if you're down here now and your heels aren't touching, you can also always place a rolled up blanket underneath the heels. And you can feel that grounding through the feet so that perhaps now you can start to lift the spine up. The elbows might work against the inner knees and feel a whole feeling of expansion through the body. Like a warm fire lit underneath, this warmth, this red glow of Muladhara, building, building, building. Building, building with the breath. And then that should feel quite nice as you rock forward and just stretch the legs all the way back out into down dog, and you might continue to have the feet quite wide here. And with those wide feet, those wide knees, find your wide leg child's pose. Allow yourself to sink all the way down into the supports beneath you. All the way down into the support beneath you. And slowly come all the way up and sit over to the left side and bring that left leg out in front. So you might like to stay like this in more of a deer pose, and some people like to lean back and enjoy that nice stretch through that right quad. Otherwise, you can extend that left leg out and find more of a half hero pose. So rolling that calf muscle out on the right side can be helpful. And you can just take this pose to where it feels best for you. So it might be upright, you might be leaning on a bolster or support beneath you, or you might choose to come all the way down. Along the way, you may find that you need to lift up and lengthen the tailbone to the end of your mat to release any pinching or discomfort through the lower back. So you want to find as much space as you can through the sacrum. And of course, no yoga pain is worth knee pain, or no yoga pose is worth knee pain or knee injury. So if you are experiencing something that's feeling not quite right there through that right knee, this is not for you. And you could explore that deer pose position, or even cross-legged often is enough just to help people release through the hips. So you can lift on up from, if you've reclined back, and either from deer pose with this left leg folded or extended, you could come into more of a forward fold. And then releasing, simply swapping the legs over. So right leg comes out in front, left leg rolls behind. You could roll that calf muscle out here. Either keep the leg out in front or fold it in. You might like to stay upright, or you could lean back slowly to wherever is available to you on this particular occasion. Knowing that every time you practice, even if you've practiced the same pose many times before, it's so important to approach each moment in its unique way and with a compassionate attitude to your body. You can ensure that you're always making safe choices. So we finish by coming into our forward fold, whether that's the right leg extended or folded in. And then coming all the way out of that position. So you can come down onto your mat now. You may like to finish the practice with your legs up the wall. Otherwise, you could tuck your hands under the buttocks, palms facing down, bring the knees into the chest, and just take a moment to let those legs float loosely, lightly up into the air. And allow that quality of a easy, gentle breeze-like breath to move through the legs. Because just like any storm, there's a constant change of the pressure and intensity. And we can feel it through our body, our breath, our mind, our life. And no matter what, we can always come back to the stillness that resides within. So you can find your way into Shavasana now. You may be resting your legs up the wall. And otherwise, go on and stretch those legs out to the corners of your mat and Open the arms out to the sides as well. Find the legs and arms now willingly ready to rest. And could you begin to bring your attention all the way down into the base of the spine here at Muladhara? This practice of awakening the root chakra is often the confidence boost that we regularly need to reassure ourselves of what we're doing is just enough. What we're doing is right for our own unique and personal path. That there is no failure in life, there's only feedback, and we continue to grow through all of our experiences. And when we come home to ourselves through these practices of yoga, we return to the feeling of safety and security, that all is well within our world, that we really do have all that we need within us. You might like to imagine that the body is resting warmly in the soft red earth. Sand so soft, it slips through the fingers. And as if you are holding a fistful of sand, the tighter you hold your fist, the more sand that you are able to hold on to. But when you allow the grip of your fist to loosen, when you allow your fingers to uncurl and your palm to lighten, all that you were once holding on to can be released. Can you choose now something in your life that you've been holding on to? You know that it's no longer serving you in a positive way. And as you choose willingly to loosen your grip, you also choose to be free. I'm aware of the very soft belly breathing that's happening now all on its own. I encourage you to stay for as long as you're able to enjoy this peacefulness, this stillness within your day for a little while longer. Of course, when you are needing to re-enter your day, please do so slowly, mindfully, as you bring great joy and presence, insights and wisdom back into your world.